There you go.
Good morning. Welcome to the May 15th, 2025 meeting of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we will take roll call. Mr. Bishop.
Here.
Mr. Dale.
Present.
Mr. Miller, I am here. Mr. Pabilla.
Here.
Ms. Wagley.
Here.
And Mr. Lowe is in the audience. Good to see you. We'll move forward with the agenda. You all should have a copy of that. I did have a request for an amendment to the agenda to add a short presentation from our friends at Danner, correct?
No.
Or D.R. Horton, I'm sorry. It's a D name, yeah, right, same thing. D.R. Horton, I apologize. So we will go ahead, I will motion that we approve the agenda with them after the Muncie Facade Grant Committee update, if that's okay with everyone.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take roll. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mr. Pabilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll move forward with the approval of the previous meeting memoranda. You all should have a copy of that as well.
Yeah, I've read through the minutes, and I've got just a few additions that were not included. I would suggest that under Jeff Howe's report, under the first point, he actually led with discussion about a hotel update and looking at where that's at, and that was not noted in the minutes. Another item under the, let's see here, the third item down under Jeff's report where he's talking about the proposal for certain tax deed properties. That was led by some information he shared about affordable housing initiatives for seniors in 20 to 25 lease-to-own homes, tax credit projects. And that then informed what was written in the minutes. So I think that's fairly consequential to the minutes. And then the third item I have of the four is that Jeff also announced that the Facade Grant Committee would have its first meeting on April 24th, that a chair would be decided and that the meeting would become a regular meeting, a regular monthly meeting. And then lastly, my remarks at the end of the meeting, it states that regarding my feelings on Senate Bill 1, that wasn't what my statement was about. My statement was about the lack of engagement, community engagement, and stakeholder involvement in strategic planning. It had really little to do with SB 1. I just mentioned that in light of. So I would appreciate the minutes being improved with those additions.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, no. Mr. Pabilla?
Abstain. I was absent.
And Ms. Wagley?
No.
Okay, I will motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's a second on that. Any further discussion? Mr. Bishop?
No.
Mr. Dale?
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pabilla?
Abstain.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Freeman, how would you like us to proceed with the minutes since we have two tie votes? Would you like us to save this for next month's approval?
Well, it's really up to you. You can motion to table it
Okay,
and then bring it back up later, but I mean, you need a majority to approve your minutes.
okay. Yeah, I guess I'll motion to table these minutes as an action item for next month.
Second.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pavilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Okay. Moving forward with the claims for Mr. Wright.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I sent out the claims, really a short listing of claims compared to what it usually is yesterday morning, and I just had a few notes on it that I sent out with it. We'll remove the $100,000 from the Silver Birch over to the 905 General. We had a total of $450,000, which was paid at 322 and 128 to the street department for paving materials, and that was approved back on January 16th. And with that, I'll just open it up to any questions you might have. By the way, I did add a letter from WS Properties on the payment that we did for $246,130.
Can you explain a little more about the letter?
Well, the letter, this was a contract that was done to where, with the agreement that we had, that with the covering operating expenses for deficits up to $246,130, that's for the canal district, and so that, under that section, they requested all of it, which we paid.
And just confirming you verified that in the original agreement with them?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to make clear that agreement was made under the previous administration, correct?
It was.
Okay. So it's been like 2018, 19, something like
yeah.
that.
August
Yeah,
1st
this,
of
that
2019.
project encountered COVID, it encountered supply chain. The expenses start when they dig the shovel, put the shovel in the ground, and the revenue starts when the revenue starts, and it couldn't start because of those kind of things, so.
I'll take a motion on the claims if possible.
So moved.
There's a motion on the claims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Probilla?
Yes.
And Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. We'll move forward with the report from the city from Director Howe.
All right. As I've been asked, I've given you the financial statements, so you'll be able to see our current financial position, which I've been asked not to bother read to you since you can read. But I've also provided you the citywide updates by district that was done a few weeks ago. It's actually been posted, but I wanted to make sure you got a chance to see it. So that it itemizes about, 3 pages or so of different activities that are happening in the different districts of the city. From paving to, construction to a variety of different things. I think it's, 30 or 40 things maybe that are on there that are being done across the city. So I wanted to share those with you as well.
Jeff, just a question.
Yes.
I know you're not going to go through the updates in the financial statement. Will those be posted online?
No, they never have been. They won't be put, no.
The financial statement, no. The city updates,
Oh, the
they're
city updates
already,
are online. They've
they're
been
already
online.
on the website and the Facebook page.
Yeah, the city updates are online. So, let me find my notes for the other updates. So the other updates, so we've been working on a number of different projects, and I want to emphasize that, these things take a lot of time and a lot of coordination to get the projects moving and continue moving forward. So there are other things that we're working on, but these are kind of the bigger highlights. The Point, as we refer to it all the time, we're continue to work on the economic development agreement for The Point. It's a multi-use facility that will bring 54 market rate apartments, approximately 10,000 square feet of retail, and about 5,000 square feet of restaurant. It's a transformative project for that corner, of course, but it is dependent upon Ready 2, and we have no word on Ready 2, although we expect to have word on Ready 2 very soon. And I've probably said that every month for the last year, but we'll hope to have word on that. But it is Ready 2 dependent. So we are continuing to work on that, and like I say, we've got some, Mr. Freeman has done the economic development agreement for me, but I'm going to hit him with some fine tuning on that based on some discussions with the developer. So we'll say that's still in process. Muncie Mall area development, deep in planning and extensive development of the Muncie Mall area project also hinges on Ready 2 support. It's not necessarily dependent upon Ready 2, but support will help move it along faster, initiate it faster. But we do expect to move forward on it one way or the other, but the pace will be dependent upon whether we have Ready 2 or not. We're looking at some other possible strategies to help get that done. When complete, the development will represent over $100 million of private investment and bring several national players partners from across retail, dining, and other sectors to the community. Timeline still undetermined, but it is a significant impact and will have a lot of interest from the community. Supporting local business relocations, considerable time spent assisting 3 local businesses in their search for new locations. We've identified promising sites and facilities and facilitated introductions to property owners. At this stage, our involvement is primary as a connector, and we will see if business and owners can come to terms. We remain available to see what we can do to help those things happen. But they are they're on different timelines. One, the window is closing on, and they need to figure out something soon. Downtown market rate apartments and hotel, in discussions with a group interested in building additional market rate apartments and an 80 to 100 room hotel downtown, provided a suitable site and a hotel operator can be secured. The developer has told me he would build it if they can find an operator and if they can acquire the property that they're looking at. There are some other promising sites as well, if that doesn't work out. But again, it takes some time and connections because we don't own land. We have to connect with people who do and figure out how those deals can get put together. Senior and affordable housing initiatives. I've been working closely with the developer to secure property for a multi-unit senior housing project, as well as the lots for affordable lease-to-own homes. We've identified a larger property and are partnering with the land bank, working on some property trades or something that we can work out so that we can make this thing happen. So still news to come on that. The window to be able to do that is the application for the credits that make the tax credits that make the project feasible. That application window is getting really small. So working on intergovernmental agreement. On that same note, intergovernmental agreement with the county commissioners that will enable us to be able to get tax deed properties in the future so we can have a number. And the right number is probably not set, but 20 to 25 homes that are tax deed because they improve our score to get the tax credits to make the deal feasible. So we will be looking at how we can acquire those. We also have a number of properties today that we have that are not tax deeds, so we were going to work with the land bank and see if they make sense for them and if they work. Zane pointed one out the other day that we'll be talking to them about as well. We've got 2 projects that are market rate housing. We're looking at one that's about 120 homes, and the homes would probably be priced somewhere around the $300,000 range. These conversations are still preliminary, but we are optimistic that could work, and feel there's a pretty good chance that will happen. So we are working to kind of lay the groundwork for that to get put together. The other is a 39 home market rate housing, and those homes would probably be in the $350,000 to $400,000 range. And again, we have seen some site plans, but they're, at this point, I would say sophisticated imagination, but there's, obviously some engineering that have to be figured out and stuff. So we'll move forward with them if they choose to, but like I said, and it probably won't take a long time, but it'll still be months before we know where that's going. We're working on another major project in the village, and we've had a lot of time involved in that, and we are kind of working on kind of finalizing that. That's had some fits and starts and some friction points and some slowdowns, and and I guess I don't expect those things to subside soon. But we're working on that, see if we can help, and that would be a large project that would help us in some of our interest in combating maybe the effects of Senate Bill 1. So all the projects, again, are many, varied, but all kind of focused on how do we, provide housing, how do we help businesses relocate, and then, how do we continue to do new developments where we can. So that's what I have on those updates.
Jeff, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
On Ready,
Uh-huh.
I think everybody across the state of Indiana is asking about Ready, so this might not be even a good question for you. But I mean, have you been given any timeline from the state on what the holdup is or why it's?
So it's rumored that we may hear something next week,
Okay.
but please understand that, it's been a long time, and
Yeah,
it's a change of administration, and I'm sure they're
Sure.
wanting to be good financial stewards. I don't know, but it hadn't happened yet, but it's rumored that we may hear something as early as next week, but
Sure.
Okay. I'm not sure, I haven't said that before. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I've got a couple questions.
Good.
Yep.
Is there any update on the former YMCA, where the developer's at with?
Still working on engineering. I think the demo of the building, because obviously you've got some rocking that happens when that building and the pool. So they're trying to figure out some of the engineering around that, because they've got to go up 2 floors. So a little disappointed that we haven't made more progress on that, but I'm not a builder, but they're working on engineering.
Are they good communicators, the developer?
Yeah, reasonably well. Yeah.
What about the skate park? I got a call from someone like late yesterday. They were just saying, hey, when is it going to be open? And I'm just curious if we know anything about that.
Shireen, do you know?
I do, a couple weeks. I mean, they've said it's almost done. Part of what's hindering the progress is that even while they're out there doing construction, there's people trying to use it, and it's not open.
Yeah.
And so they've got kids on the park while they're working on it
Yeah.
with all the machinery, and so that is hindering some of the progress. But I think it's mid-June, early June.
And that's kind of the spirit of skateboarders.
Right.
kinda
Yeah,
do
they're using it, which
Right.
is a good thing,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's,
Yeah.
it's an active construction site, which makes it dangerous.
Yeah, well, they'll be safe.
I was out there the other day. They've made some progress. Of course, we've had maybe a tad bit of rain here the last few weeks as well. So, yeah, I'd kind of heard that, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, maybe in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, what was our total investment in the skate park from MRC? Was that, we used to have the listing.
I
don't
don't
have it now,
recall.
so I apologize.
Well,
It was a big number. I
Yeah,
remember that.
we expended those park dollars, so that kind of fell off of our
Yeah.
report. So, but I don't remember the number.
Jeff, you mentioned the potential of a 39 unit market rate housing project. How,
They're homes.
homes, that's it, and thank you.
No, that's fine. I want to make sure.
Yeah, no.
Houses.
Gotcha.
Homes are apartments,
I get it.
caves, tents, whatever, but they're houses.
They're homes.
Yes.
You probably can't speak too much on this.
Right.
But what would our type of participation be? Would it be land, or would it be?
It could be. It could be a variety of things, and so just in a nutshell, here's kind of what some of the things we have to deal with. We'll have somebody come in and say, we'll build this thing here, but here's what it's going to cost. And if you remember the market study we looked at probably a couple years ago that came from and nothing's really changed. The cost to construct something new is more than the property is going to be worth. And in Muncie, sometimes if we talk about apartments, the cost to construct something is going to be higher than the rents will support. So sometimes there's a gap and that's why I refer to these things as risk mitigation. We can build the same apartment building in Fishers, and it'll be full, and I'll get the rents, and nobody's going to ask how much the rent is. They're just going to come in and sign the lease, right? That's a oversimplification and maybe a bit of embellishment. Here, how do we get the rents where they are because the building construction is the same there? It's more risky here. So we have to figure out how we mitigate the risk for those builders, or they just might not build here. Because most of the builders, because we don't have a lot today that are building those kind of structures, local developers. We did have, many of them have just retired out of the business.
But again, in regards to the 39, those are
Right.
market rate homes.
Right,
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 okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, but again, we still have some differences, right? The construction and what you can sell the house for. So it'll depend, whether it's land, whether it's, help with some infrastructure, those kind of things. But it comes in a lot of different forms. But like I say, a lot of this is, we have to figure out how we can close the gap or they just don't happen. And we have about, I think the number's 10,800. Don't hold me to that number exactly, but we have about 10,800 people that commute into Muncie, Delaware County. But obviously, a lot of those people are in Muncie, and then leave at the end of the day and go to Hamilton County, Madison County, wherever, all points south, right, to go home. And so we're trying to look at how do we get more of those people to find a place here to live. Because as we look at, what Senate Bill 1 will do, and it's an impact of, 7 figures of the city budget, new residents, more property taxes, more, local income tax, help offset the effects of that. So those are the things we're looking at. But yeah, it could be a variety of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only have one more question, and it may not, you may not have the answer to this. Do we have any financial interest in the Southway Plaza? As far as land?
Technically, no, I don't.
There
Not
was,
that I'm aware of, no.
yeah, there's a mowing crew from the city out there the other day, and I'm just curious why we mow that lot.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay,
Yeah.
We don't have a mowing crew out there.
yeah, I understood there was a mowing crew out there, so, okay, just curious.
Not us.
No, we haven't hired anybody out there.
They're
I
not
don't
on
know.
our
I don't know
mailing
what
list.
they've been there.
Okay, that's all I got, thank you.
Okay. So we have no property purchase applications. We thought we might, but we didn't receive it. But I kind of leave it there as a kind of a bookmark for it if we do, because some of those are fairly simple and we can put them in at the last minute. Others a little more complicated. So, so the Muncie East Corridor Revitalization Plan. We had a plan put together because as we've talked about a variety of things, it has, a couple of people have given feedback about, are there any specific plans about certain areas of the city? So we decided we needed to have a plan for that corridor. We've got, you've got the corner of Weiser and Madison and some things that we need to look at. We've got and have done a lot of work with the McKinley, the Live Learn neighborhood, and Gilbert. And the McKinley folks, I think, have their own plan as well. So we were looking at having a document, because as we apply for things, they'll ask, and they require there to be a plan for areas. So as we look at, can we do sidewalk improvements? Can we do ADA sidewalks? Can we do, a variety of things, trees? Can we do any kind of development? We wanted to see if we wanted to make sure we had a plan. The plan is really built around what our purpose has been since the creation of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. Our core responsibility is establishing a city ordinance, established by city ordinance and state law. We are responsible for, dealing with blight, returning abandoned and delinquent properties to productive use, and to position neighborhoods for future growth and investment. The plan is inclusive of the McKinley, Gilbert, and East Central corner, a very small corner of the East Central area, mostly around the Madison and Weiser streets. So that plan was built consistently with what we have been charged to do for many years as it relates to neighborhoods that have that need development. And so I would like to have the plan approved so we can have it as we talk to folks and we look for grant opportunities and those kind of things, so we have it We have a plan that we can say, yes, we have a plan, here's a plan, we have identified it as an area for improvement and revitalization.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for providing it. It's, it's a useful resource, I think. I don't know, Mr. Freeman, I should have asked you your opinion on this before, but I don't know if we even need to take action on approving this or not. To me, it doesn't really read like it ties us to anything necessarily. To me, it more so reads and speaks like just a resource for us that's been provided by our director. As a quick reference, maybe if someone wasn't familiar with the area or if someone wanted to know some historical background. But if you prefer us to take action on it, or if you believe we need to do that legally, then we will, that's fine. But I appreciate the resource nonetheless.
I mean, I think it's been presented to you for review. Any action that you would take, I guess, would be up to the commission in terms of if you wanted to give it your seal of approval, or if you just intend to kind of take action items piecemeal. So to your point, there's no request before you for anything regarding funding or approval or otherwise, so presumably those will come before you in the future. I guess.
I would like the plan to be adopted so we have it and we can then identify that we have a plan and it, so we can use it.
Okay.
Who authored the plan?
It was authored by, the mayor had a contractor do it, or consultant do it for us.
Who was that?
I don't know the name of the firm. Is there a firm name?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
We don't know who
Somebody-
authored the plan. Okay.
It was done by a firm, I think that is owned by Dustin Clark, but I don't know
Really?
what the name of the firm is.
Okay.
I don't have any idea.
Which this type of project is within his scope,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
at work. I mean, he's a contract employee. He does things like this all the
Right,
time for
yeah.
the city.
And he'll look for grants. I mean, he'll be the guy we'll ask to go find grants to do
Was
some
there
of
a
this work.
bid process, a quote process to gather professional firms to quote on this? No?
No, you don't have to.
We have them under contract to do work that we assign them. This was assigned to them.
I have a hard time, first of all, I've read through the plan, and I've read through a lot of plans in my years in economic development, and it's fairly ambiguous. It's hard for me to understand, and I think I kind of get things pretty well, let alone lots of grammatical errors. But I think it's hard to develop a plan that's not developed to some degree in community with the people that are impacted by the plan, the businesses and the property owners and the citizens who live in those areas. And so I would be very hesitant in adopting this as a guiding document for anything that this body would make decisions on. I think the neighborhoods, the people who are most affected, deserve to be at the table. And that's something I've been harping about for a long time. How long did it take for this individual or these individuals to create this plan? Like from
Don't know.
stem to stern, from when they started to when they finished?
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
I
Here's how I
would
would
assume
liken
it's
this.
pretty quick.
Here's how I would liken this. I would liken this to my mechanic going out and buying a wrench that he needs to do his work for. I need to have a plan adopted, so as we go out and look for opportunities, whether it's money for sidewalks, money for streets, money for trees, money for whatever, then somebody says, do you have a plan? Yes, I have a plan. It is identified as, it has been identified as an area that we can invest money in to revitalize the area. That's what it's for. I don't know that, pardon me?
Nothing. Go
Oh.
ahead.
So that's what I liken it to. The work that's identified here is not inconsistent with what the charge of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission is. But if I do, and I probably won't, but if I have somebody on our behalf go out and seek a grant and they say we have a plan and we say no, we may not be eligible to get money. And we may not be eligible to get sidewalks done or streets done or ADA stuff done, whatever that might include. But like I say, I liken it to having a tool that we can, or eliminating a barrier to have a tool to do stuff in this area. That's what it is. We're not going to go out and start implementing things tomorrow because we have nothing that we're talking about doing there. What we have is We have a place, it needs to have work. We need to be able to go out and figure out what we can do there, and we need to make sure that that's a barrier we do not have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, if reading through it, I mean, the plan doesn't identify necessarily anything that we're going to do, right? I guess that's probably what I mean with my language of, it doesn't tie us to anything, right? There's no like, the MRC is gonna spend X amount of dollars on this specific project, right? Really, the majority of the document actually talks about things that have already gone on or are going on. And
Basically information.
yeah, it's really just informational, in my opinion. So, you know, I don't know. I guess I want to make the point clear. Like, yeah, this isn't tying us to anything. We're not voting today. If we do vote to accept or reject this, you know, in my opinion, we're not tied to anything. It's not an actual project. It's more so an outline of an area.
That's right, because
that
today
is
we
a
don't have
target.
money to do that. That's what we're trying to get the barriers down.
Let's think about it. What we're saying in this plan is that we have major car repairs to do, right? I mean, using your analogy and we went to a mechanic and we quickly got some ideas, and now we're gonna use that as the parameters with which we spring from in future decisions. Most of us, if we had a major car repair, would get the answers we need, maybe from a couple or three, people that are specific licensed to community planning, you know, the type of stuff of urban development that's done. And then we would take action and get the car repaired and go about those things. The thing that causes me concern is a sentence in this. Having identified the key challenges facing the McKinley, Gilbert, East Central neighborhoods, a strategic housing-focused approach is essential for overcoming these hurdles and drive long-term revitalization. I don't know how you come to identify any challenge not talking to people that are most impacted and have their life savings and going businesses involved in these places. I don't understand how you would do that. Now, lastly, and this is the last thing I'll say on this, I think doing it right doesn't necessarily take any longer than what it took. I just think doing it with the right sources is very important, and then doing it with the community.
So I'm going to take, so in keeping with the car analogy, I'm going to take, you went further down the road than I think it's necessary. Because what I think is, I want to be a mechanic, I need a wrench. That's what I know I need to do my job, is a wrench. There hadn't have to be a car in the driveway yet. I need a wrench, because that's what it's going to take to do what we need to do. That's where I put this, in that analogy. This is about having tools in the toolbox so we can do what we need to do. We can wait till we need to do it, and then if we don't have the tools, guess when it gets done? When it gets done, if it gets done. So that's how I see this.
I would be curious to hear, Mr. Bishop, I think you live in one of the neighborhoods listed in this region, correct? And Shereen, you do too, maybe? No, you guys don't?
No.
We live in Minnetrista, which is
Okay, so it's
mentioned, but it's not,
Nearby.
yeah, as a part, listed as a.
I thought you guys were in McKinley, I apologize.
No.
Where the neighbor, like, so there's 3 specific neighborhoods mentioned in the plan, all of which have active neighborhood associations. And I think at least 2 of them, 2 of the 3, maybe all 3, have neighborhood action plans, however good or not good they may be, or updated or not they may be. Were those neighborhoods and neighbors consulted with?
No. And here's why. I need a plan so I can say I have a plan of an area that needs revitalized. Look at the pictures in the plan. Any question about some of those properties need to be revitalized? Any question about the sidewalks? I live in town. I've been down that street. I've jogged down that street. I mean, all those streets in all those neighborhoods. So do I know we need sidewalks? Do I think anybody's going to take a big challenge about whether we need to redo the sidewalks? Do I think there's going to be a big challenge that we want ADA cuts in the curbs? Do I think there's going to be challenges for those things? No. This is what we do for a living. And we were enacted to do this by city statute years ago. I just want the tool. I want the wrench to be able to do what I'm supposed to do. And I can't apply for some of these grants. I can't apply for funding in some cases because I don't have it. I don't think there's anything objectionable in here. I don't think there's any reason to say we could have a meeting and let's have a conversation. Who doesn't want to do the sidewalks in your neighborhood? Who doesn't want to do curb cuts in your neighborhood for ADA? Who doesn't want to have trees trimmed if they need trimmed? I mean, who doesn't want to do that? We're not forcing anything on anybody. If quite frankly, if we get money and somebody says we want to do the sidewalks and somebody comes out and says, hey, don't do my sidewalk, I like the roots coming up through it, we can probably take it off the list. But I can't apply for these things if I know they're going to ask me the question, is this an identified area for revitalization? Yes. No. The application is thrown to the side. That's all we're getting to. We're not going out and making changes. We're not changing the team mascot's name. We're not naming the city anything different. We're just trying to say we've identified the area so we can use it to apply for money, find opportunities to do redevelopment or revitalization or whatever it is specifically that we have been charged to do for years.
Yeah, I guess that's my question, or I guess maybe not, my main concern with the plan. I mean, I guess there are plans that do identify a lot of those issues. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. I think it's for the 4 blocks of Weiser between Walnut and Madison, but I'm not sure that's
It's on the map.
explicit in there.
That's on the map. It's the area that's included in the map.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess if the plan is indeed largely informational, I think a lot of the information needs clarified and copy edited and fixed. And I guess otherwise, I mean, I guess I'd be curious, I mean, I know the point of the plan is for applying for grants, but I guess a lot of the issues that are pointed out in the plan, I feel like the city is already responsible for. So I'm not entirely sure, like, I mean, it talks about street trees and the picture shown is like.
You just hit the target. We're already responsible for this. I just need to be able to say, I have a plan. You're right. You're exactly right. You look at that thing and say, wait a minute, are we supposed to do that anyway? Yes, is the answer to your question. What I need to be able to do is say, I have this document so I can go do those things. But you're exactly right. You hit the target. We already do these things. This is what we do, and this is what we're charged to do. Here's what we don't have, the money. And oftentimes, we don't have the money to make these things happen. This is hopefully removing a barrier for us to be able to get the money. I can't guarantee you, I'm not going to come in here next month and say, gosh, if we adopted that plan, now I have $10 million. But we can't, but this is what we're trying to target. But you're absolutely right. You've hit the target. This is what we do. We're just trying to eliminate the barriers from being able to do what we do because the biggest barrier for us is money.
Okay, if I could have
please.
another minute or
Yeah,
so.
please.
I mean, I guess if the issue is money, I guess I would like the plan, I mean, in addition to correcting the information and clearing the information, I guess I would like the plan to identify the existing city departments that should be responsible for these items. I mean, if it is indeed like 4 city items, I mean, again, like, as I was trying to say, the picture of the street trees, issue on lack of street trees on Columbus, I mean, that's a corridor that was already recently rebuilt by the sanitary district with new sidewalks. And then like code enforcement isn't addressing like parking over the tree lawn, which is then leading to making it difficult for trees to be planted on the tree lawn. And there have been city initiatives with street trees. And then it points out like, kind of like zoning issues in the old Kincannon building, and the city went through a whole process and spent money and a lot of time rezoning a lot of McKinley just to not like what was proposed for the old Kincannon building, which could have been fixed with, the rezoning and with updating the zoning code. So I think it just, needs to flesh out some of those, key elements of like, well, what do we do with the money and how do we make sure that stuff is maintained and, enacted correctly?
I think I
You're
see.
talking about tactical things. This is not a tactical plan. This-
Don't mind. I think, and I'll come to you next, Steve, I apologize. I think I know where Zane's coming from. Zane and I both have planning backgrounds, Zane even more so than me, which is why I really appreciate his expertise. And so maybe the title of plan is the confusion.
I was going with it.
Again, to me, it's a resource, it's a tool. If this were a actual, like strategic urban plan, I think it would map out all the things that Zane is saying. And even the things that Mr. Dale has hinted at and others as well. So maybe calling it a plan is the problem and we can just rename it something else, that's fine. As long as you have the tool to do the job, that's what I care about.
Renaming it doesn't defeat
But does that,
purpose.
but I was just gonna ask, so like if we renamed it from plan to something else, does that then cause trouble with developers
I
and things
think
of that
potentially
nature?
could,
Okay,
with funding sources.
I'll go to Steve, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was mainly going to say the same thing, that this is a plan only to the extent of these neighborhoods need revitalized. This is not an exact plan of what we're going to do. When you apply for grants, you have to have some of this general information. Now, when he applies for grants, it's going to be for a specific thing, and I assume there's going to be additional planning for that exact project. This is not the end of what will be a part of the grant, but just information that is needed up front.
This reaches, yes, sorry, Steve.
Yeah, it just states that there needs to be revitalization in these neighborhoods. It doesn't say specifically, this is not what's going exactly for a grant.
This answers the one single question that gets us through the first filter. Is this area been identified for revitalization in a plan? Yes. Then whatever the purpose of the request is for, trees or streets, and those things will come from the relative departments. But then there'll be a whole, as you know, a laundry list of questions that will be, I can't even begin to tell you, but it'll be what kind of trees or or it'll be, milling before paving or paving and what's the street sidewalk width and that'll be all the details. This is the first filter.
Yeah.
Has this area been identified for redevelopment or for revitalization in a plan?
And
Yes.
I think the thought is also that, again, I'm going back to your tool analogy. So if you use this as your tool and then you get the developers in because we have the tool available to us so they can come to us and say, we want to help revitalize this region. Then from there, the MRC has actions to take on the work that they'll be doing. So I guess
doesn't
it's
allow
also true
anything
that
to
like
be
this
done.
isn't just a, like, hey, here's this, go build something.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
it's probably good to reinforce that too.
And from this, just like with every other project that's happening, the skate park, store development, the McKinley Live Learn project concerning Columbus Avenue and Concannon's building and the Y, the neighborhoods and the stakeholders are included at that point when there is a project that has been identified.
That's right.
Or an idea that has been identified. This is a step before that.
First
Yes.
filter. It's the first tool in the toolbox. And
And that's why it's so general, is
Yeah.
because it's taking the information from all the different projects, and yes, some neighborhoods are ahead. The McKinley Live Learn neighborhood's been meeting for a couple of years and has more progress going on than maybe the East Central neighborhood has in their area, especially after, the Muncie Inn is more recent than the McKinley Live Learn. And so, so this area is just simply, in this document, is being named as a target. And then from there, ideas, plans, coming together with stakeholders and neighborhoods and departments and all of that.
Right.
Those are the next steps
Right.
after this.
Go ahead, Mr. Bishop, and then Mr. Dale.
If this is to apply for grants, when is the first of those grants due?
There aren't any.
It just depends on
I
when
don't
they're
know.
available.
There aren't any yet. I'm just trying to make sure that we have the tool so when we can apply for grants. There aren't any yet.
It's a good question.
I don't want to stop discussion,
Grants
but I would
ongoing.
maybe suggest that we wait on this for some copy editing and
I think we're overthinking this. I really do.
I agree with that.
I think we're really overthinking
We've
this.
had more discussion on the informational piece than we have on most projects.
Right.
Are you done with your statement? Do you have more? You're all good? Mr. Dale, go
Yeah.
ahead.
What's the methodology for this particular plan as opposed to saying, okay, let's also consider the industry Whiteley corridor. Was there some type of methodology used to say, no, we won't go to the Old West, we're not going to do a plan right now for the Old West End or industry Whiteley, we're going to do this? Just curious.
Well, there's a plan, the McKinley, Whiteley, Live, Learn is together. Whiteley is included with the McKinley project, which they've been meeting for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, and the Community Foundation has led some efforts with Art Space to create an arts corridor right there in that area.
So there's already a
And-
plan for that.
And that's my next question, because I thought we'd go there, is why wouldn't that be included then in this plan? That way you've got plenty of coverage for whatever you're looking to capture.
Well, because they've done their plan. Their
There's
plan
already
doesn't
a
include
separate
this.
plan for that.
They've done their plan.
I,
And a lot of specificity is going to put this in the realm that you didn't name this. You named 10 things and you didn't name this.
Just a question.
So,
Just a question of methodology.
Yeah,
That's all.
I mean-
That's all I'm asking.
yeah.
make a motion to approve this plan, just for our tools moving forward.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
Is there any discussion with folks that might be impacted by this plan? Are they allowed to speak or
Not
ask
at this
questions?
point in the meeting,
They can speak during public comment, yes. Is
But
there
not
any,
before a decision's made.
correct.
they can speak during public comment, as is the decorum of our meeting every month when we meet.
But you could decide as president to allow them to speak if you chose to.
I could, but I'm choosing to keep to the decorum of the
Okay.
meeting as we do every month.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion by members of the commission? Seeing none, we'll take roll. Mr. Bishop,
No.
Mr. Dale,
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pravilla,
Yes.
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our TIF report from Mr. Bob Swintz. Unless you have anything else, Jeff? No. Thank you.
I'm with London Witty Group, and I work with Craig and Jeff for some of the reporting and administrative issues related to your tax increment areas. The first thing on the agenda was your annual CHIP report. This is information that needs to be reported to the Department of Local Government Finance through their Gateway website. This is really just taking all the financial information from the Redevelopment Commission in the prior year and putting it into the format that GLGF puts forward in their reporting portal. There should be nothing on there that you've never seen before. There are some additional requirements now. It needs to be provided at a public meeting to the city council, which has been done. And as I said, it was uploaded to the Gateway system by April 15th of this year. I'm not sure there's any action that you have to take on that necessarily. But the second item is a resolution that you do every year, and it is a resolution that informs the county auditor and impacted taxing units of your intent to capture the assessed value to collect TIF for the year 2026. And in this particular resolution, the request, or I guess what you're saying is we would like to collect 100% of the TIF in order to meet all of our obligations, be they debt obligations or just ongoing pay-as-you-go projects. And if that resolution is approved, we provide it to the county auditor and the taxing units as unbelievably we're starting the budget process, and they'll need to have that information.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Bob. Appreciate all your work and all your help. We do this every year. Ben, I don't know if you have any other things you want us to do besides taking action on the resolution. I know the copy we have doesn't have a resolution number on it, but I'm
My
assuming.
records show it would be 2025-01.
01, okay.
I've got one quick question,
Go ahead,
Mr.
please.
Swins. And thanks for answering the question earlier. Historically, we've captured all of the proceeds, or is this year different?
You have, as far as back as I've been involved, you've always captured 100% of the assessed value.
Okay, all right. Hey, I got a question. On this form right here, I don't know if this, it says, this is eventually going to be signed by us on the distribution list. It references 24 in the body, but it references 26 at the end. Just want to make, and that may not be a typo. It just might be me, the way I'm reading this stuff. So, okay.
Okay, yeah, I think we just need to take action on Resolution 01. Do I have a motion and a second at all? I'll make the motion that we approve
Sorry, I was
Resolution
distracted, sorry.
01, that's okay. There's a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll take roll. Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Dale,
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes, Mr. Probilla,
Yes.
and Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it. Let's move on to the facade grant committee update, I believe is where we're at. Mr. Bishop and Mr. Probilla, what do you have for us today?
Mr. President,
Yes.
can I just state
What?
that
Please.
Jeff has had a family emergency and he's had to leave.
Okay, thanks for letting us know. All the best to Jeff, I hope he's okay. Mr. Bishop and Mr. Probilla, good.
I handed out a copy of the application that I wrote up based off of our discussions and previous applications. Didn't know if there's anything anyone felt was missing off of it.
I was gonna say, I got asked about this at the MAP meeting committee that I was asked to attend last month, and they're very excited about it. I think a lot of people are excited. This will be on the website too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it'll be available on the website with a fillable PDF.
Do you guys want us to, I'm assuming, take action on this to approve it today? Is that your guys' intention, or is this just a draft? What do you prefer?
I don't think it needs
Yeah.
MRC approval. Everything that the committee's been doing falls in line with as far as I'm aware, it falls in line with the motion that was originally made to establish the program and the funds for it. So aside from that, we've just been working out some of the details and preparing to launch.
Wonderful.
And I think we were supposed to report out on the chair. Jason Phillips is the chair of the committee.
Yeah.
Can you guys, who all's on that? Is it just you three, or is there more?
It's Joy Rediger and then
Jess
Jess.
Hoffer.
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you guys have met
Twice.
twice and for more than an hour each time.
That's awesome.
But we have had a lot of interest. I get a lot of calls about this program, so
We-
whenever you're ready, I'm
I'm
we'll
excited.
have
I
applicants.
think did
Yeah.
we get the scoring sheet?
Jason's working. Yeah, Jason's working on how the applications will be reviewed, and there's some details that were drafted in a plan that we've been editing and trying to figure out. I know Ben, you advised on some of that, but I think
Once we have
a
that.
I think a lot of it's out of your control, so we'll just wait. I think for further word, but aside from that, we're just trying to be as airtight as possible before launching, because I think it's going to be a popular program.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you, guys. There's no further comment on that. We'll move on to the presentation by D.R. Horton. I got your name right this time. Go ahead.
Good morning, Ed Canasser with FC Tucker. We had an interesting office meeting the other day, and Mike Ajunta came from D.R. Horton, and I thought it was a great presentation. I thought it'd be a great presentation for Mike to come, for you to meet him, and he could give you an update on what's happening with the store estates. So I'll pass out some brochures while Mike takes over. And by the way, he's a Ball State graduate, played basketball
All right, sure,
for
sure.
Majerus and 89, 90, went to the Sweet 16, so here you are.
Wow.
Thank you, guys. Well, my name's Mike Genta. I'm the community sales consultant at D.R. Horton at Store Estates. And I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update on how it's going out there. We have 34 total lots. As of now, there's only 21 available, and I've sold 16 of them.
Wow.
So the interest has been spectacular. We have 4 specific floor plans that they can build out there. Price range anywhere from 240s to 300. 2 single stories and 2 two-story. We offer financial incentives to buyers with special interest rates, anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5. We also give them $8,000 towards their closing costs, which will cover more than all of it. And with that extra money, they can actually use that to buy down the interest rate even further. We also give realtor incentives, 4% commission on any realtor sales. There's a small HOA fee out there at $275, and that's just basic community upkeep, $275 a year. If buyers come out and want to build from dirt, it takes about five months to complete. That's really it. I mean, the success has been great. I appreciate all your guys' involvement, and look forward to, there's 10 lots that have not been released yet. They used to be in a floodplain, and we're kind of waiting on that to get changed and approved to move forward. But other than that, it's been great out there, so thank you.
Yeah, I drive out there often and see your guys' progress, so thank you for the progress.
Sure.
I know you guys have a leasing office out there as
Yeah.
well in
Yeah,
the
I sit in
building.
the model.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming your guys' intention is to convert that to a home eventually as well.
Yep.
And then the parking lot, it's a little like
Yeah.
3.
So we have
That'll be
3
one.
lots, the office lot,
Mhm.
the parking lot, and then the lot right behind the model. We keep those till the very end.
Okay.
And then, obviously, we'll convert those to lots where people can buy. So,
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Any other questions, anything?
Yeah, I had a couple questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Bishop.
So with the city and the MRC's investment in the project, can you just clarify what the HOA fee goes toward? I just wanted to see.
Sure. It's $275 a year.
Uh-huh.
And it's basic general upkeep of the community. We have like a sign out there that says, Store Estates. We keep that maintained, and other than that, that's really it. I mean, it's a small fee, typical HOA fees from like Indy, where I'm from, are a lot higher than that. It's just basic upkeep of the community. That's all
Of the sign or other elements like the?
Yeah, the sign, the landscaping around the sign, so on and so forth.
You guys don't do anything with the park, do you? That's all our
No,
department
and
can say.
that's, yeah.
And then is there a warranty on any of the homes? What's the length?
So there's a 1-year warranty kind of on, soup to nuts. Anything goes wrong that first year, they'll come out and fix it. They come out and do a paint touch-up once a year, that first year. Warranty will come out the 11th month and fix any nail pops or foundation cracks in the ceiling. Then there's a 2-year warranty on all the mechanicals in the house, so if your HVAC goes kaput, they'll come out and fix that. And then a 10-year structure warranty on the home.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay. All right, we'll move on. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Appreciate it. Update from the Muncie Land Bank, Mr. Howard.
Good morning, Nate Howard from the Muncie Land Bank. We approved the transfer of those 11 properties I've talked about as part of an in-part option related to our Old West End development. We got the housing development proposals from the co-developers, that's in 10 Indiana, Eco Rehab and Pastone. So that'll go through, and we'll get a little bit of capital back in. Property that we had acquired last year on behalf of Urban Light CDC, we acquired it for them. They didn't have the funding. We held it, maintained it, cleaned it up, and then just recently passed it off to them. All the properties that we've got from the county that were awarded to us last year as tax certificates, we're maintaining those, but the houses, we've been doing what we call level 1 assessments, doing some heavy cleanup. We're finding out that some of the houses that we got have really great rehab potential, but they're really rough inside, so we're having to do a fair bit of cleanup. And excited to get those out to the public, offer those to the public for rehab, kind of do-it-yourselfers. We, as Jeff mentioned, we have 9 properties that we're conditionally holding to potentially be part of a LIHTC grant. Some of those are tax deeds, some of those might not be, depends on what Jeff needs, but he mentioned that to me, quickly went through our inventory, checked off the ones that would work, that aren't tied to any projects or other agreements, sent along a draft option, so we're ready to go if that needs to happen. We are restarting our vacant lot auction and structures for sale program, which we had paused. We were doing some kind of analysis of the impact and how we can improve that, hold people more accountable to their proposals, and so we're going to fire that back up. Talked about our proposal to the county that we made, presented a document back in February, then we went to a meeting, presented on that a little bit more, fielded questions, they tabled that. I wasn't there, but on the meeting on May 5th, the commissioners formally rejected our table proposal for countywide collaboration, and they mentioned a few things. One, that they remain open to field our petitions for property like we've done in the past, so we're going to be doing that again quickly. We've talked about how we work with different neighborhoods and our partners around the city to kind of come up with a collaborative plan for which property and how it's going to be used. So we're thankful that they're open to that. We're going to follow through on that. What's clear is that our arguments about the tax sale and kind of the limitations of the tax sale are landing. Unfortunately, that hasn't translated in necessarily wanting to support the land bank. And they kind of stated their priority as far as transferring property that's lingering in the tax sale. And they mentioned that number 1, the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission, number 2, the Muncie Redevelopment Commission, then the municipalities, Yorktown, Daleville, and any other municipalities, and then the Muncie Land Bank. And, while the proposal was rejected, we do think there's a possibility to repropose something, some type of collaboration. But I think more importantly, and I think also it's relevant to this conversation we're having this morning, to this body, it seems like we need to do a better job of articulating the land bank's role in the broader redevelopment ecosystem. We exist to proactively acquire and maintain property so that others, such as those entities that I mentioned, can carry out redevelopment. We are not and do not intend to become a competing developer. Rather, our purpose is to support a streamlined, cost-effective, and efficient system that preserves key properties, prevents deterioration, removes legal and logistical barriers that often impede timely redevelopment. That's what we're here to do. And exactly what we're potentially going to be doing with this LIHTC grant that Jeff has mentioned this morning. We'd like to do more of that. It sounds like the county is wants to do an interlocal agreement directly with the MRC. We're here. We're here if we can serve you all in that way. That's what land banks do. One of the things that land banks do. We had our first Friday. We had Professor Snow from Ball State to come in and talk about SB1. We had a really great conversation. Presented both sides of that bill that created some stir here locally from an economics perspective. Our next First Friday, the Facing Project, you may not have heard of. They're going to come and kind of do their initial call for public participation. That'll be June 6th. We do want to go back to the county and ask for properties. If you go to our website under resources, it says partner resources. Click there, type in partner. It's called our Spring Ask 2025. We are happy to acquire on behalf of the MRC properties. If you want to look at that map, it's comprehensive. It shows every single property that did not sell in the last tax sale, how many times it's been through. that's a service that we provide. I'll follow up with Jeff in that, but I wanted to make that known to you all. Any questions or comments?
Is it not your experience or endemic of land banks that typically, if a land bank is working on behalf or is the custodian of, or just the recipient of the property of a municipality, that it's usually less costly to the community for a land bank to have possession of those properties, to maintain them,
As opposed to another entity?
as opposed to a municipality?
Oh, well, I just know that it's a complicated process, and we've specialized in that. We just took 40 properties through that process. It's a specialized process, and then there's the whole process of following up, maintaining them,
Yeah.
doing all the assessment, the cleanup work. It's a lot of work, and that's why they pay me
Yeah,
to
I'm
do
a big
that.
believer in land banks and government not doing what it ought not be doing, and let others do it who do it better. So I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. All right, moving on to public comment. Go ahead and do that. You have 2 minutes each. Mr. Rebilla, if you wouldn't mind to keep time as our secretary. Ms. Jamison, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yep.
I will do my best to stay within the two.
All right.
I want to go back to and beat the dead horse for just a moment of the East Central, McKinley and Gilbert. I don't live anywhere near any of those neighborhoods, but I have had 4 people reach out to me and express their concerns about moving forward without any community input, neighborhood input. And I know we talked that to death this morning, but I mentioned that I would say something at this meeting to them, or on behalf of them. I think what I was hearing today was indicative of a communication issue. The residents think it's this. We're saying it's only this. You're saying this is only this. And I do think a communique going out to the impacted neighborhoods would be beneficial. To have the explanation that was given today given to the residents that would be impacted. Because there's a complete misunderstanding. I mean, what we heard Jeff say was, I'm just looking for tools. They're thinking something's about to happen and we weren't even asked about it. That's the gap. Secondly, DR's here. Just an update either from the MRC or maybe DR. What's the status on the old Sportsplex property? Is DR Horton still planning to go ahead and begin building? If so, what's the timeline for that? I assume it's sold or it's closed, right?
I don't believe so
No.
yet.
It's not
No.
closed.
Mm-mm. I
No,
don't
it's
believe
an
so yet.
option,
Oh,
or whatever you call it, the contract to buy.
okay. All right. And one last
Go ahead and
thing.
finish your point, yeah.
Yeah, optics matter. And I have to say, and I wasn't here for last month's meeting, but I was online. And I have to tell you, the optics were horrible at the close of that meeting. We pride ourselves in this country and in this city and state, I think, with free speech, First Amendment right. And I heard someone trying to express that last month and was repeatedly gavelled down. Not a good look. I believe personally there's an apology in order that's due, and I would hope that would never happen again, because a commissioner having a comment on the commission's board is certainly appropriate to have. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Knatzer, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Ed Knatzer, S.C. Tucker. In reference to the revitalization plan, I like the concept. I just would have you take another look at the executive summary. starting off with a plan to categorize the effect, does that create a problem for stigmatizing that area based on just those low-income housing revitalizations? So that's my only comment, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kim Miller. A plan was just adopted that doesn't even identify the Emily Kimbrough house correctly. I'm not arguing that sidewalks and trees aren't needed. I'm not arguing that work in our neighborhood is not needed. What I am asking is, why weren't the stakeholders there to help identify these things? And I know we heard a lengthy argument as to why we were not. But if we were there and we were helping with this process or had a look at this, we could have at least helped identify problems in the plan as simple as not identifying a house correctly, because it really takes away from the entire plan. Is a wrench really the best tool to start with if we use the analogy that we were going with fixing a car? This is why maybe talking to the mechanic first that has done this job for a long time might be important, because they can identify if that's the first tool you should buy or if you should start with a different tool. Talking to us as stakeholders that have lived in the neighborhood, who work in the neighborhood, who walk the neighborhood, who talk to the people that live in the neighborhood, could help identify, is that area the area that is most needed right now? It very well might be, but it may not be the correct starting point. There might be areas that need things more desperately, that don't fit with maybe the plan that you guys are hoping for. And I get this is just, in theory, a tool right now, but my worry is when we do have the ability to sit at that table as stakeholders and to talk to you guys or talk to Mr. Howe or whoever is doing this, it'll be too late to change if there's another area identified that is more important. As neighbors, as we have always asked, just to have transparency and to be talked to when the city is doing things. It seems like we always get the information too little too late. Even if it is something that's great to improve, we just want to know and be in the loop. It hurts to kind of hear that as stakeholders, it didn't matter right now to us because it was for something as simple as getting grants. But grants, as you guys were saying, are very specific. And if the specifics of our neighborhood aren't met, that seems like it was kind of a waste of time and effort.
And what was your name? I missed it.
Mr. Shaw, got 2 minutes.
Hey there.
Go ahead.
All right, Brian Shaw, 600 East Washington Street within the East Central Neighborhood Association. So I don't think that's really a plan. I think it's an action items list, really. I mean, a plan's step by step.
Correct.
So maybe name it appropriately. So plans, when you say plans, we kind of panic, like, wait, what plans? We haven't heard anything. So you're just reaching out. I mean, this is the Redevelopment Commission. We have people in the neighborhood who have rehabbed old houses or built new structures in the neighborhood or whatnot. Maybe reach out to us, see if anyone wants to be involved with this in one way or another. Get some buy-in, because when you market these development projects to other entities that may or may not be here in Muncie, that's of concern to us. Like, who's going to maintain the properties, who's going to see that there aren't problems associated with properties, depending on, if apartments are built somewhere or whatnot. So, just reach out. MuncieECNA@gmail.com is the email address for our neighborhood association. Anyone on our board has access to that email address. So just email us if you have questions. If you'd like to just, hey, have a few of us out, throw some ideas around. It's not that difficult. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comments?
Christopher Bilbrey. All my comments are kind of related, and it just goes back to basically the function of local government. And I would think this board, as a as an arm of the administration, I would think that meeting the public where they are would be important. I mean, it's really ridiculous that you guys would vote before these people would have a chance. I'm not saying that Jeff was wrong. I'm not saying that these people are right, but it would be good to have that discussion beforehand. I mean, it's really disappointing when you do have the option. I mean, look, this room's not full of people. You're going to be out of here really soon. It wouldn't have done any harm to allow these people to be heard before you guys vote. It's exactly pointless for you guys to listen to these people after you vote. It serves no purpose. The other issue and the reason that I came in late was I was listening online, and it's the minutes are always an issue. I know that you guys have probably seen the minutes of the city council before, and the city council uses very minimal software, and it takes hardly no time at all, and they capture every word that is spoke in a council meeting. And the fact that you guys don't do that, I think, is a disservice to yourselves. It's a disservice to the public. And again, it's that idea of trying to meet the public where they are, and it seems like more and more you guys are not doing that, or you attempt to not do that. And then lastly, I would think it's just the overall feeling that you guys portray. And I'll be done in just 1 second.
Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, the president hasn't looked up at me while I've been speaking, except to tell me my time is off. I think that's, I mean, I know you're shaking your head, but that's rather rude. I know that you don't care, and you shrug your shoulders and look like an asshole, but that doesn't look good.
Time's up.
The attitude that you had at the end of the last meeting last month also looked ridiculous. And I think that as an arm of the administration, you would want to do better. I would hope that the mayor would remove you for that behavior. He hasn't. I knew he wouldn't, but just try to do better. Try to do better.
Anyone else for public comments?
I'm Rob Miller.
Go ahead.
I embarked last year on redoing a house that's been vacant in the East Central neighborhood for 31 years. No one's lived in it. It's been blighted. It's fallen down. We actually have a hearing this evening to get approval for our first COA. We're going to be doing major siding work. It's on Main Street. It's a big thing people see on that street coming into town every day. I am working on it. And when we hear these sorts of things come through about the East Central Redevelopment Plan, we're doing it. Some of the neighbors are actually doing it. And there's people that in the neighborhood that have done it. We have experience. And to my wife's credit, like, they misidentified the Emily Kimbrough house, which is a historic house that the neighborhood, the local historic district, is named for. So that corner of East Central neighborhood that you are identifying in this document is a local historic district that features Emily Kimbrough's childhood home. And in the document, you identify her childhood home as a burned down house outside the neighborhood. That's not great. There are other problems that are less obvious in that document. And I think it's a good plan. I agree with Jeff that you guys need a tool to get these grants. But like, they need, to Zane's point, like, we just need to go through and fix the problems with it. I mean, there's just glaring actual factual errors in it right now that you guys are going to be pitching to grantors. And if they do any research on the city, they're gonna figure it out really quickly that the document doesn't line up with reality. So I would ask that you guys ask them to go back and not rewrite it or anything like that, just go ask some people what's actually correct in there, maybe fix some grammar, maybe fix some spelling mistakes, and, you know, correctly identify some of these historic landmarks, because they're incorrect right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to commissioner comments.
Well, just to further that,
Go ahead, Mr. Bishop.
this East Corridor plan is now approved. I guess my first issue was that, for us commissioners, it was, sent over on 2 days ago. It was not listed as actionable. It mentions, neighborhood partners, but those neighborhood partners weren't consulted. That makes it very difficult to work on a plan or, vote on a plan. And I don't necessarily need to make comments during a large public meeting, but if we're not consulted beforehand, then that's where they're going to come out. I don't think we're overthinking some of the issues with the plan as proposed. It mentions planning as a tool, but one of the partners and one of the developments that's listed as an example in the plan, as a good example, is not following the existing zoning and development standards that are required for developments. And 2 of the houses that were listed as examples of blight in McKinley are also owned by a partner. So I think it contradicts itself, and I think it pushes the blame off as we just need more money to do things, when I think there's a lot of tools that the city has that it's not using correctly. Thank you.
I'd add just one thing. I want to add to that. The urgency at the expense of just everything. An example of this was in January, I think as the meeting was on the 16th, there was a $1.2, $1.4 million spending plan that we approved. I did not vote in favor of that. I don't believe that Mr. Bishop did either. We received that in less than 2 days before the meeting, just like we received this plan that we didn't vote for today, 2 days before the meeting, less than 2 days before. And that vote in January, it turned out that part of what we were asked to approve wasn't good. It wasn't right. It wasn't a part of the plan, actually. It would have informed the decision better. And at that meeting, I had asked for it. Can we just table this and in the future get things a little more advanced so we can ask questions and we can inquire and just make the best decisions we can on behalf of people who live and invest in Muncie. And I think we're shortchanging ourselves, and unfortunately, we're really shortchanging the whole citizenry when we work in a sense of urgency that's not even necessary.
Okay. Only thing I have left before we adjourn is our next meeting is scheduled for June 19th, which is a federal holiday. So maybe check your calendars, and we may have to reschedule that depending. Yeah, other than that, there's no other business. We will stand adjourned until then. Thank you so much.